the Magic Crane was also the kind of film that I watched when I was a kid. And it was like very rudely done movie when it was, you know, when I saw it, it was like 11 years old or something. There was like a black and white, and everything was quite raw and quite crudely done. It was not a, you know, it's not a movie with finance. So when we were kids, we always imagined that, you know, like if the movie is done in a different way, then it can be something like this. So that's why when we were kids, we always like to talk about the movie when after we saw the movie. Even the movie was not as great as any, you know, like big budget movie. Then we like to talk about the movie because then we can interpret a lot and imagine a lot, can fantasize a lot of things that, you know, if, you know, this thing can be done like this, and then, you know, the scene can be done like that, and the character can do something like this. So when we grew up, this kind of experience kind of stayed with us when we became, you know, we got into this business. We got into the film business. So automatically, again, the Magic Crane was something like we would try to, we sort of came up from time to time that every time we talk about film that we've seen when we were kids. So when Muk-sing came along, I said, why don't we try something like this? Why don't we try doing this Magic Crane and see how it turned out on the screen? That's why I work with him. That's why I chose Muk-sing. I knew this director when he was working in television. He's one of the few directors who create very outstanding work on television. And since then, I try to work with these people, and automatically, Muk-sing, it was the choice to try, you know, to put on together a project that we can work out, see if, you know, the element, the chemistry can come out on the screen. In that period of time, I was more concerned into finding more different kind of movie material for the audience than anything else, because we try to convince the investor to give us the chance to try out different material, because again, I was quite worried or quite concerned if the film that come out from industry are quite similar to each other. It's always this cloning maniac that we always try to avoid. If some movie make money, then there would be 20 of them or maybe 30 of them following this movie. They clone the kind of the same type of thing that from this movie. This something is very normal, and sometimes it's very destructive by the sense of the audience get very confused whether, you know, they should go for this movie or they should go for another type of movie anymore. So this is something I was more concerned. That's why in that period of time, we were trying to create as many as possibility, as much as possible. Or it's not something really rational. It's not a very logic thing. It is simply because it just comes from the way I like it or not. It's the way I feel like I feel like more happy to do something like this, and I would do it. It's very it's very spontaneous things coming from my choice, my preference. Is maybe at the end of the day you can find an explanation of it, but it's always like I'm an audience too. Like I'm watching my own movie before it was made. Like if I watch The Blade, right, and I imagine the world that on the screen speaks something like this, then I will try to make a movie in my mind that the way I see it. So if you talk about, if you talk a black and white movie in the 50s and 60s, and then we have this color movie in the Shaw Brothers in the 70s, 60s and 70s, and those period of time we were kids running around watch movie like crazy, and definitely it's got a lot of influence from the way we create things now, and we make choice because something that you really loved before as a fan of certain actors or fans of certain genre movie. Now to come to the point where you start to create, you sit there and said, okay, let's do this movie. Then you write a script about it and shoot the movie in the way that I think is most entertaining and most enjoyable. Somehow it's related. Even you try to get away from it, but it's related. But for so many years, that is like a seed that for already grown into a tree. The tree have big trunk and also twigs around, a lot of leaf, a heavier foliage around the tree, and you ask a question like how you can measure the balance between that and that, we don't know. This is like growing with time, growing with the kind of thinking you have for years, and occasionally when you go back and watch movie like that, you feel very shocked because like it was not exactly what you remember. It's totally different things. I remember I watched some movie again. It was so strange to me. I didn't recognize it anymore. It was something as along the years, we try to modify it in our mind, unknowingly. You're modifying it in your mind, and so thinking based on that idea for years, and you already changed to something totally different. So when you go back see the original one, you find out actually it was not like that.
呢啲係山類花葉，香唔香啊？
俾本書添。哇！之後，姑娘，你好似唔記得着。
咁好唔好睇啊？
麻麻地好睇啫，我驚你冷親喎。
唔會，你睇得咁過癮，俾我睇翻好應該。
喂，大庭廣眾，俾其他人睇到好肉酸嘅喎。喂，睇都睇係嘛？睇到夠啦。你隻手，哎，又睇到。各位大俠請觀賞。
I think we need to look for something very fresh and new for all this genre, because but at that time we did Magic Crane. It was like we have done so many action movie already. So how would we create something fresh and new for this one? So then I was asking for something quite different from the past. That I tried to ask for something like which never exists before in this genre, by saying that can we add something totally not existing before, and we try to put it there and see how it is possible. For some moment in the creativity process, we turned it into some like a semi-comedy style of this story, and it was like a beginning of the Magic Crane, the direction of Magic Crane. That we try to be looking for comedy, things in this movie. I think very obvious. I think the action choreographer for the Magic Crane worked with Ting Zidong a long time in the past. So I think definitely it was like a pick up the style of Ting Zidong some way. And I think the old Cantonese, traditional Cantonese style was basically was the starting point for this project. That's why somehow it was related to that again. And I think that's quite obvious. It's quite funny in a way. We were not sure whether we should really cut out everything from the past or we should remain some of the stuff that we see the connection of this new one and the old one. But anyway, that was the result that turned out, you know, is at the end for this movie. Well, when you talk a commercial element, talk about the commercial factor, it's not something easy to define. When if talking about the video, you know, the popular video rental culture, we said some CEO coming into the production office saying that, okay, I need this. Definitely we need a love story. Definitely we need a pretty girl. Definitely we need one bad scene. We need, you know, 3 fantastic action sequences, and those things probably you walk in this blockbuster video rental store, you can see that on the rack. Everybody watching this film and say, well, we have to make movie along with this formula. So we talk about this formula is dangerous because we start going into a cloning process again. Everybody using, you know, certain actor, everybody was using certain story background, everybody was trying to shoot the movie in certain style. It has become a suicidal action because the audience really feel annoyed by seeing, you know, similar things so many times. So when you talk about commercial element, commercial factor, I think the very basic source is from your heart. You really feel you love it. You feel like you're really entertained by certain idea, and that idea is the commercial element.
阿神，你咪3分人識上大雄，你武功咁渣，等我教你行迷蹤步。腳踏兩儀，金木為肩。 共舞9天，據水中。入咗煲裏邊啊！
哇，嚟緊啦！
身在乾坤，意轉堪離。玄龍勿用火騰空。
撞啦喎！
This is 2006, and I'm speaking from Hong Kong, and just finished movie 7 Swords, and would go into making some more movie. So I hope that next time I see you, and I would be the form that I like to be in, and I hope that, you know, I can see you again through the channel and through this screen, telling you something new about myself.